There exists within the human soul a yearning so profound, so fundamental to our very nature, that it transcends every boundary of culture, creed, and circumstance. It is the yearning to be led by someone worthy of our devotion, someone who ignites within us a flame of purpose that burns brighter than our fears, our doubts, our limitations. This is not the shallow compliance born of authority or the grudging obedience extracted through force. This is the magnetic pull of authentic leadership, the kind that transforms ordinary men and women into extraordinary forces of nature, willing to march through hell itself if their leader shows them the way. But here is the great tragedy of our time. Most who hold positions of power know nothing of this sacred trust. They confuse the title with the essence, the position with the person, the authority with the influence. They wonder why their commands fall on deaf ears, why their vision remains theirs alone, why their followers scatter like leaves in the wind at the first sign of storm. They fail to understand the immutable law that governs all human relationships. People do not follow titles. They do not follow positions. They do not follow authority. People follow people, and they follow only those who have first learned to lead themselves. The path to becoming a leader, whom others will follow to the ends of the earth, begins not with studying others, but with conquering yourself. For you cannot give what you do not possess. You cannot inspire what you do not embody. You cannot lead others to heights you have never scaled yourself. The first battle every great leader must win is the battle within. This is the battle against mediocrity, against the voice that whispers you are not enough, against the comfort of the known and the fear of the unknown. Every morning you wake, you face a choice. Will you be the author of your destiny or merely a character in someone else's story? Will you rise to meet the challenges of leadership, or will you shrink back into the safety of the crowd? The answer to this question determines everything that follows. You see, leadership is not a position you attain, but a responsibility you accept. It is not a crown you wear, but a cross you bear. The moment you decide to step forward to take responsibility not just for your own life, but for the lives of others, you cross a threshold from which there is no return. You become accountable not just for your own success or failure, but for the dreams and aspirations of every soul who chooses to follow you. This accountability is both the burden and the blessing of true leadership. Most people run from responsibility. They seek to blame others for their circumstances, to point fingers at anyone but themselves for their failures. But the leader does the opposite. The leader runs toward responsibility. When things go wrong, the leader looks first in the mirror. When credit is to be given, the leader points to others. When blame is to be assigned, the leader accepts it. This is not weakness. This is the ultimate strength. For in accepting responsibility, you claim the power to change things. In accepting blame, you free others to excel. In giving credit away, you build loyalty that money cannot buy. But accepting responsibility is only the beginning. The next step on your journey to irresistible leadership is the cultivation of an unshakable vision. Not just any vision, but a vision so compelling, so inspiring, so necessary, that others cannot help but be drawn to it like moths to a flame. Your vision must be bigger than yourself, bigger than your personal ambitions, bigger than your own desires. In the deepest chambers of the heart. People do not sacrifice for small dreams. They do not endure hardship for personal gain of their leader. They do not follow into danger for the promise of merely getting by. but show them a vision of vision transformation, of making the world better, of being part of something that matters, and they will move mountains. Your vision must paint a picture of a future so desirable that the present becomes unbearable without movement toward it. It must be specific enough to be believable, yet broad enough to allow others to find their place within it. It must challenge people to become more than they ever thought possible, while assuring them that together you can achieve what none could accomplish alone. But vision without communication is merely hallucination. You must learn to speak, not just to the mind, but to the soul. Words have power beyond measure when wielded by one who understands their true purpose. The great leaders throughout history were not necessarily the smartest or the strongest or the most talented. They were the ones who could take the fire burning within their own hearts and kindle that same fire in others through the power of their words and the conviction of their belief. Learn to speak with passion, but passion controlled and directed. Learn to speak with authority, but authority earned through service. People can sense authenticity from a mile away, and they can spot a fake just as quickly. You cannot fool people into following you, but you can inspire them to choose to follow you. And here lies one of the greatest secrets of magnetic leadership. People must feel that following you is their choice, not your demand. The moment leadership becomes coercion, true leadership dies. The moment you try to force people to follow, they begin planning their escape. But when people feel they are choosing to follow you, when they feel they are part of something they helped create, when they feel ownership in the vision and the mission, then you have not merely followers but fellow warriors in your cause. This requires something that many who seek leadership find difficult to accept. You must genuinely care about the people you lead, not as tools to accomplish your goals, not as resources to be consumed, not as means to your ends, but as individuals with their own hopes, dreams, fears, and aspirations. You must see each person who follows you as infinitely valuable, worthy of your best effort, deserving of your respect and consideration. This is not sentiment. This is strategy. When people know you genuinely care about them, they will do things for you they would do for no one else. When they believe you have their best interests at heart, they will trust you with their careers, their reputations, their very lives. But this care must be genuine. You cannot fake caring any more than you can fake character. People sense immediately whether your concern is real or merely performed. The leader who truly cares learns the names of those who follow, learns their stories, understands their motivations, celebrates their victories, and supports them through their defeats. This leader does not see followers as interchangeable parts, but as unique individuals, each bringing their own gifts to the collective effort. Such a leader creates not just a team, but a family, not just an organization, but a community, not just a business. You must also possess the courage to make difficult decisions, to take unpopular stands, to lead even when the path is unclear and the outcome uncertain. Leadership is not a popularity contest. There will be times when doing what is right costs you relationships, when standing for your principles costs you support, when holding to your vision costs you comfort. In these moments, your true character as a leader is revealed. The weak leader compromises principle for popularity, sacrifices the mission for momentary peace, abandons the vision when criticism comes. But the strong leader holds firm to what is right, regardless of the cost. This leader understands that respect is more valuable than popularity, that integrity is more precious than approval, that the mission is more important than personal comfort. People may not always like the decisions you make, but if those decisions are made with integrity, with their best interests at heart, and in service of the greater vision, they will respect you for making them. And respect once earned becomes the foundation for influence that no position or title can provide. Your courage must extend beyond decision-making to include the willingness to be vulnerable, to admit when you are wrong, to acknowledge when you do not know something, to show your humanity to those who follow you. Many leaders believe they must project an image of perfection, never showing weakness, never admitting error, never revealing doubt. This is a fundamental mistake. Perfection is not inspiring, it is intimidating. Perfection does not invite connection, it creates distance. Perfection does not build trust, it builds suspicion. People do not want to follow a perfect leader because perfect leaders are not human, and humans cannot relate to what they cannot understand. They want to follow a leader who struggles as they struggle, who grows as they grow, who learns as they learn. When you admit your mistakes, you give others permission to be human. When you acknowledge your limitations, you create space for others to contribute their strengths. When you show vulnerability, you demonstrate the courage that true strength requires. This does not mean being weak or indecisive. It means being authentic. It means being real. It means being the kind of leader others can trust because they can see who you really are, not just the mask you wear. Your authenticity becomes a magnet that draws people to you, because in a world full of pretense and posturing, genuine humanity shines like a beacon in the darkness. As you develop your authentic leadership style, you must also master the art of empowerment. Great leaders do not create followers. They create more leaders. They do not seek to keep people dependent upon them. They seek to make people capable of independence. They understand that their ultimate success is measured not by how much people need them, but by how well people can succeed without them. This requires a fundamental shift in thinking from ownership to stewardship. You do not own the people who follow you. You are a steward of their potential, a guardian of their growth, a catalyst for their development. Your job is not to make them dependent upon your leadership, but to help them discover the leader within themselves. When you empower others, you multiply your impact exponentially. One leader can influence hundreds, but hundreds of leaders can influence millions. Your legacy is not determined by what you accomplish in your lifetime, but by what others accomplish because of what you taught them, inspired them to become, and empowered them to do. This means you must be willing to share power, to delegate authority, to give others the opportunity to succeed and the freedom to fail. You must celebrate their victories as if they were your own, and support them through their defeats as if they were your responsibility. You must resist the temptation to micromanage and instead create an environment where people can flourish, where creativity is encouraged, where innovation is rewarded, where taking calculated risks is seen as courage rather than recklessness, but empowerment without accountability is chaos. While you give people the freedom to succeed, you must also establish clear expectations, definite standards, and measurable outcomes. People perform best when they know exactly what is expected of them, when they understand how their contribution fits into the larger mission, when they can see the connection between their efforts and the results that matter. Your role is to set the standard, communicate the vision, provide the resources, remove the obstacles, and then get out of the way while holding people accountable for their commitments. They either become dictators who control everything and empower nothing, or they become pushovers who empower everything and control nothing. The skilled leader finds the sweet spot where people feel both free and responsible, both empowered and accountable, both trusted and held to high standards. This requires constant communication, regular feedback, and the wisdom to know when to intervene and when to step back. If your communication must be consistent, clear, and constructive, people cannot hit targets they cannot see, and they cannot meet expectations they do not understand. You must paint the picture of success so clearly that everyone knows what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like. You must communicate not just what needs to be done, but why it matters. Not just the task, but the purpose. Not just the requirement, but the meaning. And your communication must flow both ways. You must be as committed to listening as you are to speaking, as devoted to understanding as you are to being understood. The greatest leaders throughout history were not necessarily the greatest speakers. They were often the greatest listeners. They understood that wisdom comes not from knowing all the answers, but from asking the right questions. They recognized that the people closest to the work often have the best insights about how to improve it. They realized that everyone has something valuable to contribute if given the opportunity to be heard. When you listen to people, you honor them. When you seek their input, you value them. When you act on their suggestions, you empower them. This creates a cycle of engagement that transforms followers into partners, employees into owners, team members into family members. People support what they help create, and they will fight to protect what they feel they own. Your ability to listen, really listen, with your full attention and genuine interest becomes one of your most powerful leadership tools. But listening alone is not enough. You must also master the art of asking questions that unlock potential, reveal truth, and inspire action. The right question at the right time can change everything. It can shift perspective, challenge assumptions, generate solutions, and create breakthrough moments that transform not just circumstances but people. Learn to ask questions that make people think, that challenge them to grow, that help them discover their own answers rather than simply waiting for yours. Ask questions that uncover hidden talents, reveal unspoken concerns, and surface innovative ideas. Ask questions that connect individual motivations to collective missions, that link personal goals to organizational objectives, that align individual strengths with team needs. The leader who masters the art of questioning becomes a developer of human potential, a miner of hidden treasures, a key that unlocks doors people did not even know existed. Your questions can inspire people to see possibilities they never imagined, to attempt things they never thought they could do, to become who they never dreamed they could be. But questions without action are meaningless. You must also become a master of execution, someone who not only dreams big dreams and paints compelling visions, but also gets things done. People will follow you into battle, but only if they believe you can lead them to victory. They will endure hardship for your cause, but only if they trust you can deliver on your promises. They will sacrifice for your vision, but only if they see tangible progress toward its fulfillment. This means you must become obsessed with results, not just activity. You must focus on outcomes, not just efforts. You must measure progress, not just intentions. You must celebrate achievements, not just attempts. Your followers need to see that their efforts are producing fruit, that their sacrifices are leading somewhere, that their investment in your leadership is paying dividends. This requires you to break down large visions into manageable goals, long-term missions into short-term milestones, overwhelming objectives into achievable actions. People need to win regularly to maintain their motivation. They need to see progress consistently to maintain their faith. They need to experience success frequently to maintain their commitments. Your job is to create these victories, to design these wins, to orchestrate these achievements. You become the architect of momentum, the engineer of progress, the conductor of success. But victories alone are not enough to sustain long-term loyalty. People also need to see growth, both in themselves and in the organization they serve. They need to feel that following you is not just helping them achieve external goals, but is also helping them become better versions of themselves. They need to believe that being part of your team, your organization, your mission is making them stronger, smarter, more capable, more valuable. This means you must invest in their development, provide opportunities for learning, create challenges that stretch them, offer experiences that expand them. You must see potential in people that they do not see in themselves, and then create the conditions for that potential to emerge. You must believe in people before they believe in themselves, and then help them discover what you already see. This investment in people becomes your greatest asset and your most enduring legacy. The people you develop will carry your influence far beyond your presence. The leaders you create will multiply your impact far beyond your lifetime. The growth you inspire will continue long after your voice is silent. But this investment requires patience, for people do not change overnight. It requires persistence, for growth is rarely linear. It requires faith, for you must often believe in outcomes you cannot yet see. You must plant seeds today that may not bear fruit for years. You must nurture potential that may not emerge for seasons. You must invest in people who may not show immediate returns on your investment. This long-term thinking separates great leaders from good managers. Managers focus on the quarter, leaders focus on the decade. Managers optimize for efficiency, leaders optimize for effectiveness. Managers maintain the status quo, leaders create the future. Your willingness to think long-term, to invest in delayed gratification, to build for tomorrow while delivering today, becomes the foundation of sustainable success and enduring loyalty. People will follow you not just because of what you can do for them now, but because of what you are helping them become for the future. As you invest in others and they begin to grow, you must also continue to grow yourself. Leadership is not a destination, but a journey. Not a position you reach, but a process you engage. Not a title you earn, but a responsibility you accept fresh every day. The moment you stop growing is the moment you start dying as a leader. The moment you think you have learned enough is the moment you become irrelevant. The moment you believe you have arrived is the moment you begin the journey toward failure. The greatest leaders are the greatest learners. They read voraciously, study constantly, listen intently, observe carefully, and reflect deeply. They seek out feedback, even when it is uncomfortable. They pursue mentors, even when they are successful. They attend to their weaknesses, even when they are strong. They remain students, even when they are teachers. Your commitment to personal growth must be visible to those who follow you. When they see you learning, they give themselves permission to learn. When they see you changing, they believe change is possible. When they see you growing, they commit to their own growth. You become not just their leader, but their model. Not just their director, but their inspiration. Not just their boss, but their example. This modeling extends beyond professional development to personal character. Your followers are watching not just what you do at work, but how you live your life. They are observing not just your public persona, but your private character. They are noting not just your professional competence, but your personal integrity. You cannot compartmentalize leadership. You cannot be one person at work and another person at home and expect to maintain credibility. You cannot demonstrate values in the office that you violate in your personal life and expect to inspire lasting loyalty. Your character must be consistent, Your values must be constant. Your integrity must be complete. This does not mean you must be perfect. It means you must be authentic. It means your private life must align with your public leadership. It means the person people see in formal settings must be the same person they encounter in casual moments. It means your values must guide your decisions regardless of the setting or the circumstances. This authenticity becomes the bedrock of trust, and trust is the currency of leadership. Without trust, you have no real influence. Without trust, you have no sustainable success. Without trust, you have no lasting loyalty. Trust is built slowly and lost quickly. It is earned through consistency and destroyed by contradiction. It is strengthened by vulnerability and weakened by pretense. It is the most precious asset a leader possesses and the most fragile. You must guard it carefully, invest in it wisely, and never take it for granted. Every decision you make either builds trust or erodes it. Every word you speak either strengthens trust or weakens it. Every action you take either enhances trust or diminishes it. There are no neutral moments in leadership. You are either building or destroying, growing or declining, advancing or retreating. This understanding should inform every choice you make, every word you speak, every action you take. But trust alone, while necessary, is not sufficient. You must also possess the courage to make difficult decisions, to take unpopular stands, to lead even when leadership is costly. There will be times when doing what is right conflicts with what is easy, when standing for your values costs you support, when holding to your principles costs you popularity. In these moments, your true character as a leader is revealed, and your credibility is either established or destroyed. The weak leader compromises principle for peace, sacrifices values for votes, abandons standards for acceptance. But the strong leader understands that integrity is non-negotiable, that principles are not subject to popular opinion, that doing right is more important than feeling good. This courage must extend to every area of your leadership. You must have the courage to hire people who are better than you in their areas of expertise. You must have the courage to promote people who might someday replace you. You must have the courage to admit when you are wrong and change direction when necessary. You must have the courage to have difficult conversations, to address poor performance, to hold people accountable for their commitments. This courage cannot be faked or manufactured. It must be cultivated through practice, strengthened through experience, and renewed through commitment. Each time you choose courage over comfort, you build your capacity for future courage. Each time you do what is right despite the cost, you establish a pattern that defines your character. Each time you lead with courage, you inspire others to find their own courage. Your courage becomes contagious, spreading through your organization like a virus of strength, infecting others with the belief that they too can be brave, that they too can take stands, that they too can do what is right regardless of the consequences. This creates a culture of courage where innovation flourishes, where truth is spoken, where excellence is pursued, where mediocrity is rejected, where greatness becomes possible. But courage without wisdom is recklessness, and wisdom without courage is cowardice. You must develop both in equal measure. Wisdom comes through experience, but experience alone does not guarantee wisdom. You must reflect on your experiences, learn from your mistakes, study the successes and failures of others, seek counsel from those wiser than yourself, and never stop asking questions. Wisdom teaches you when to speak and when to listen, when to act and when to wait, when to hold firm and when to bend, when to lead from the front and when to push from the front and when to push from behind. Wisdom helps you understand that different situations require different approaches, different people need different motivation, different challenges demand different strategies. There is no one-size-fits-all formula for leadership, no universal approach that works in every situation, No single style that succeeds with every person. The wise leader develops a repertoire of approaches, a toolkit of strategies, a range of styles that can be applied as circumstances require. This requires emotional intelligence, the ability to read people and situations accurately, to understand the unspoken dynamics at play, to sense the undercurrents of emotion and motivation that drive behavior. You must learn to read body language, to hear what is not said, to sense what is felt but not expressed. You must understand that people are motivated by different things, communicate in different ways, respond to different approaches, and need different kinds of support and challenge. Your ability to adapt your leadership style to the needs of the situation and the people involved becomes a multiplier of your effectiveness. The rigid leader who applies the same approach to every situation will succeed sometimes and fail often. But the flexible leader who can adjust approach while maintaining principles will succeed consistently and fail rarely. This flexibility must extend to your own development and growth. You must be willing to change, to evolve, to become more than you currently are. You must resist the temptation to rest on past successes or rely on outdated methods. You must embrace new ideas, explore new approaches, experiment with new strategies. The world is changing rapidly, and leaders who refuse to change with it become irrelevant quickly. But change for change's sake is not the answer. You must change strategically, grow purposefully, evolve intelligently. You must maintain your core values while adapting your methods. Hold to your fundamental principles while adjusting your practices. Stay true to your essential character while expanding your capabilities. This balance between consistency and change, between stability and growth, between tradition and innovation, is where masterful leadership emerges. As you grow and develop as a leader, you will face increasingly complex challenges that test every aspect of your character and competence. You will encounter situations where there are no easy answers, where every option has significant costs, where the right choice is not obvious, where competing values create internal tension. These are the moments that define great leaders, the crucible experiences that either forge strength or reveal weakness, the tests that either build character or expose its absence. In these moments, you must return to your core values, your fundamental principles, your essential character. You must ask not what is easy, but what is right, not what is popular, but what is principled, not what is expedient, but what is ethical. You must be willing to pay the price for doing what is right, to accept the consequences of standing for your values, to endure the criticism that comes with making difficult decisions. But you will not face these challenges alone. If you have built relationships of trust, if you have developed a team of capable people, if you have created a culture of courage and character, you will have allies in the battle, partners in the struggle, fellow warriors in the fight. The people you have invested in will invest in you. The trust you have built will support you. The loyalty you have earned will sustain you. This is why the character and capability of the people around you matters so much. You cannot achieve greatness alone. You cannot sustain success in isolation. You cannot face the ultimate tests of leadership without a team of people who believe in you, who share your values, who are committed to your mission, who will stand with you when standing is difficult and costly. But this team will not emerge automatically. You must build it intentionally, develop it purposefully, nurture it carefully. You must recruit the right people, train them thoroughly, empower them appropriately, support them consistently, and hold them accountable fairly. You must create an environment where good people want to stay and great people want to come. This requires more than good compensation and attractive benefits. It requires a compelling vision, a positive culture, meaningful work, opportunities for growth, and leadership worth following. It requires you to be the kind of leader that attracts other leaders, the kind of person that draws people of character, the kind of leader that inspires people to give their best effort to your shared cause. When you have built such a team, when you have earned such loyalty, when you have created such a culture, you will discover something remarkable. Your influence will extend far beyond your direct reports. Your impact will reach far beyond your immediate sphere. Your legacy will last far beyond your tenure. People who have worked with you will carry your influence into their next roles. People you have developed will apply your teachings in their own leadership. People you have inspired will inspire others in turn. Your leadership becomes a stream that feeds other streams, a fire that lights other fires, a force that multiplies through the lives you have touched. This is the ultimate measure of your success as a leader, not the titles you have held or the positions you have achieved, not the wealth you have accumulated or the recognition you have received, but the lives you have changed, the people you have developed, the positive influence you have spread through the world. This is what it means to become a leader. People will follow to the ends of the earth. It means becoming someone worthy of that following, someone who has earned that loyalty, someone who has demonstrated that dedication to your leadership will be rewarded with growth, success, and meaning. It means becoming a person of such character, competence, and care that following you is not a burden but a privilege, not a duty but a joy, not a job but a calling. The path to such leadership is neither easy nor quick. It requires constant growth, consistent character, courageous action, and compassionate care. It demands that you give more than you receive, serve more than you are served, invest more than you withdraw, love more than you are loved. It asks you to be strong enough to be vulnerable, confident enough to be humble, secure enough to empower others, successful enough to share credit, and wise enough to keep learning. But the rewards of such leadership extend far beyond personal satisfaction. You become a force for good in the world, a catalyst for positive change, a developer of human potential, a creator of meaning and purpose in the lives of others. You become someone whose life matters, whose influence endures, whose legacy lives on in the countless lives you have touched and transformed. This is your calling. This is your opportunity. This is your challenge. The world needs leaders of character and competence, leaders who care more about serving than being served, leaders who measure success by the success of others, leaders who are worthy of the trust placed in them and the loyalty offered to them. Will you answer this call? Will you accept this challenge? Will you commit to becoming the kind of leader people will follow, not because they have to, but because they want to, not because you demand it, but because you have earned it, not because you have authority over them, but because you have influence with them? The choice is yours. The path is clear. The destination is worthy. Begin today. Begin now. Begin with the person in the mirror. Become the leader you would want to follow, and others will follow you to the ends of the earth.